Hey everybody. At this point in the advent of Neovim series, we've covered a lot of the basics of sort of configuring plugins and how we're going to use them and Lua and Neovim. And a lot of the next steps that you need to take are probably just being willing to read the help docs for a plugin and then use the help appropriately, and also not install 1,000 plugins that you don't understand. If you do two of those things, then you'll probably end up with a Neovim config that works pretty well for you. But what I wanted to show is how can we put all these ideas together into like one series where we're just going to build a plugin from scratch so that we can test each of these different ideas and come out with something useful on the other end. So we're going to build a presentation plugin inside of Neovim. And what we're going to do with that is we're just going to take a simple markdown file. We'll do some super simple parsing of the file and then output on the other side a nice little plugin for us that can do the same things that I was doing in my Neovim config earlier. If we go here and we go to something like this file here and I go present, how did we do this? We're going to build this. Okay, that's what we're going to build, and we'll build a few other bonus features inside of it as well, and we'll show how to make an actual sort of plugin, and we'll show some of the other aspects as well, like documentation, testing. Those will get developed. They might not all make it into Advent of Neovim series, but I'll give you some bonus episodes later about how we do that for this plugin that we're building. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to make a new folder. Actually, I'm not going to call it present Lua. What am I doing? We're going to call this maker present.envim, and we'll go inside of this. And it's also kind of nice because it's like my present to you. I can't help doing jokes like that. But first things first, inside of a repo like this, you need to make a Lua folder. Okay, that's going to be the folder that holds all of the info that people can require from your plugin. We also, just like we know before, can make a plugin folder here, and this plugin folder will be able to hold all of the information that all of the code that gets run on startup. So those are our two places that we're going to start. And let's go ahead and open up our Lua file, and we'll make a present Lua thing here, and we'll just say print loaded present.envim. Okay, now if we open up Neovim again, obviously nothing happens. We didn't tell Neovim, hey, here's how you can find and load this directory on my computer. So to do that locally, it's actually pretty easy. We can make a new file. Maybe we'll just call it like dev Lua inside of our configuration plugins here. And what we'll do with this is we can just say something like dir equals, and then we can say plugins, and we had present envim like this. And so this dir tells it, hey, lazy, look for somewhere on my local file system to find this plugin. This is how I do it. You can also set up like dev and some other stuff like this, but this works fine for me. And we can even do, okay, so first, if we do this though, and we open this back up again, nothing's gonna happen. Why doesn't anything happen? We didn't tell it to actually load present, right? So if we do this, now we'll see that printing happen, right? Why does that printing happen? Because now we finally executed that Lua file. We have two options here. If we want our plugin to automatically do stuff inside of our plugin folder, we could make something like load present.lua here, and we could just put our load require present. Okay, and if we quit out of this and we open this again, you'll see this prints right on startup. If we didn't want to do that, right, and we go to plugin here and we delete this, we could also go to our dev part here, and inside of our config for this, we could go something like require present, right? And then later this would be something like .setup ... but we don't have a .setup function yet. So if we quit this and we open it, we'll see that this loads again now. So those are your two options to get something to happen right away. If you put it in plugin, it will happen immediately. If you put it in your config, then it'll only happen when that gets executed. So with all that being said, we're going to actually try and do something now inside of our plugin. By the end of this video, what we'll have is we'll like parse. We'll do this very simple version of this to start. Parse a markdown file and open up a floating window that we can like next and previous on each slide. So that's what we're shooting to do. All right, so we can do local m is this and return m. This is what you sort of see in a lot of plugins. This m is like colloquial standing for module. So this is like our public interface for this file. And now we can start defining different methods on this. Probably one you want to have is setup. For now, we're not going to do anything. So this is just nothing. We don't have any configuration. Okay. And now I'm saying, oh, right, this is going to start doing 8 because we have that set up. So let's go and make ourselves an editor config. We'll do star.lua, and we'll do the same thing we've done before, where we say indent size is 2 and indent style is spaces. I think that's right. I probably got that wrong. Let's check our config and vim example editor config here. Oh, nice. I remembered it perfectly. Okay, so if we open this up here and we go to whoops, what did we miss? Indent size and indent style. Uh-oh, what did we get wrong? Indent style, indent size. Oh, it's not without quotes. Sorry. I always forget that. Okay, so let's open this. We go to our Lua file here and we have this. Awesome. So we have setup. Great. What are we going to do with setup? Nothing yet. This is like how you usually do user configuration. Okay, so let's make something like local parse slides. Okay, and this is going to take a list of lines. Now, we need to do a few different things here. The first one is, you'll notice sometimes when I'm writing, it kind of like jumps around a lot. Let's go ahead and change some of our options inside of here. I'm going to make a new options .lua file inside of here to like set a few of these. Local set is vim.opt or something like this, and we can do set. And that's going to be sign column equals yes 1. This should make it, if I source this file, this always sets it so it won't jump so much. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to make a parse slide function. And one thing that's pretty cool is, while I'm at it, we'll do share keys. So one thing that's pretty cool is Lua LSP supports these doc style comments, and this says like takes some lines and parses them. Okay, awesome. And then what do we want to do with this? Line is going to be a list of strings like this, and the lines in the buffer. Okay, awesome. So what are we going to do with those lines? What do we want to actually do? We need to return, and we're going to return sign column. Why didn't that? Yes, 1. Okay. We're going to return some parsed amount, some parsed slides. So for us, let's actually just say that this is going to return present.slides. Now, we haven't made this yet. It says that we don't know what this type is, and we can actually define custom types like this, present.slides. Actually, we'll say class here, and we'll give it some fields. So some fields might be like, we'll just say slides. And maybe it's a list of strings. Maybe that's all we're going to do right now, okay? And this basically says, hey, this thing needs to return this class, which is going to have this field slides with this type. This is pretty nice, slides of the file, something like this. Okay, so what are we going to do once we've got that going? Well, we need to take those lines and then turn them into this thing. So let's go local slides is this, and we'll give it a slides is an empty list. Okay, so maybe this is like, it's a little weird to call it slides and slides. That's okay. And so basically what are we going to do inside of here? We're going to start saying for, and then we're going to go line in pair or I pairs, lines, do, end. Okay, so now let's just start with something like printing line, and we'll return slides. All right, and we can actually just test this out, parse slides, and we'll pass it a list of lines like hello, this is something else, and world, and this is another thing. Okay, because if I'm thinking how am I going to write Markdown, I'm going to put this here, then some text, another heading, and each one of those I want to be a different slide. That's kind of my goal, right? And then we should probably print the result the result of this. Okay, so if we just execute this file, you'll see it prints each of the lines like we told it to, and then it returns something with slides is empty. Okay, that's not amazing. It's not amazing, right? But we're at least on the right way. And this is kind of a pattern that I do. I know there's like other ways you could think about doing this, but like I kind of like to just write a little bit of scratch at the bottom of this file, execute the whole file, and then when I'm done, I just delete this and then I'm ready to go, right? So maybe that's a bad plan. You might think that it's terrible, but like it's kind of my strategy. And I like how basically the buffer becomes its own like unit to test. And when I'm done, I just delete this stuff at the bottom, right? You could also do this by like reloading it, by checking package load, but we'll save that for a different day. This is kind of like how I like to think about it. So first things first here is we need to do something like local current slide, okay? And that's going to be empty, right? Because there's nothing inside of it. And as we're iterating through the lines, what we want to do is we want to find something that looks like this, which we're going to say is a new slide. So let's say something like local separator is, and we'll do this. It needs to be something where this, we're going to look for the beginning of the line and in octothorpe. Okay, so let's print line and we'll say find, and then let's go line find separator. Okay, and then we'll say like this so we know when we're done. Okay, so let's execute this file again and we'll see, hey, look, it found it at 1. This one didn't find it. This one found it at 1. This one didn't find it. Okay, awesome. Right, so awesome. That's good. This is now we're being able to sort of find which lines have a separator. So if we change this idea here, if we go if this, then what are we going to do? We're going to take the last set of slides and we're going to insert it into our list of slides. Okay, because we're sort of like collecting these. So let's go if and let's go length of current slide greater than 0. So if we actually have something in our current slide, then we'll go table insert slides. Once again, maybe we'll change that name. I don't know. We'll get there. Current slide. Okay, so that's the first one. Then we're going to go current slide is like an empty list, right? Because we're going to start doing this again. And then we'll just kind of keep going, right? Okay, and we'll start at the end of every single line here. We'll go table, insert, current slide, and the line. Okay, so this will basically get it so that anytime we find a separator, if we have like lines to put inside of here, we'll drop those in. And then we'll reset this, and then we'll put this inside of here. So if we try this now, we'll see, hey, look, here's our slides. Ooh, and we forgot one thing, the classic one here, which is that on the last line, we need to make sure we insert it, but that's okay. We have a list of the first slide. So now all we need to do here, right, is we just make sure that we put the last lines at the end here. And so that's just table, insert, current slide, and let's do, table, insert, slide.slides, current slide, like this, just to make sure that we always grab the last one. Now, if we do this, we have both of our slides set inside of it. You can't really see, but there's our hello and our world, right? And you could write some of your own test cases. We'll go over testing in a later video, but this is like at least the very beginning. And honestly, this is as far as we need to go for parsing slides right now. So this is like, at least we're at a start. We have 2 ways to get the slides. That's great. What do we need to do now? We need to make a floating window. And honestly, like, this is fine. We can just use, like, if you recall, we had made, did we keep this in anything? Float terminal, that's right. We'll just yoink this code here, and we'll do something very similar to it from our config. Now, this is not like an amazing plugin. It's whatever, but let's go ahead and do local, let's do start presentation, presentation. There we go. Okay. And we'll go here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get local lines is vim API nvim buff get lines. And we'll just get it right now for the current buffer, all the lines here. Then we'll say local parsed is parse slides, and we'll say lines. Okay. And now we're going to local float is create floating window. And for now, let's just do, we won't even pass any options to this. It doesn't matter. We'll just take whatever our defaults are, right? And then what do we want to do once we've created the floating window? We want to say, we want to do it for the very first line, or for the first slide. Let's put the contents inside of here. So we can go vim API nvim buff set lines, and we'll go float.buff. We'll set all the lines, and we'll set it to slides, slides dot slides 1. We'll set it to the first slide. Now this is not exactly, yeah, this should be right. Yeah, parse.slides, present.slides. Yeah, it should be good. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so then once we have this going here, let's, instead of calling parse slides on this, let's go ahead and change this to be, let's actually pass in a buffer. We'll go ops here, and we'll go ops is ops or this. Ops.buff number is ops.buff number or 0, like this. And then we'll change this to be ops.buff number. Okay, so now if we create a new thing here, and we say hello This is the first slide, world. This is the second slide, like this. Okay. And we say, what's the current? Nvim get current buff 227. Okay. So now instead of doing this, we'll do m.start presentation buff number equals 277, right? That's what we said. I forgot. Okay, 277. Nice. And so instead of doing this, right, we'll keep this around in case we want to try this again. Let's go ahead and move that to a new tab because we don't really need to hold it onto it right now. We're going to parse the lines. We're going to get the slides. We're going to create a floating window, and then we're going to put the text inside of that floating window. So let's go ahead and execute this. And it says buffer expected Lua number. What did we do here? Op.stop buff number for... Oh, this is good. Okay, present Lua 14. So what did we do inside of here? 14. Oh, right. We were silly here. And... we copied something without thinking about it. We had some special stuff going on for that buffer creation. Okay, so now let's try again. And look at that. We opened a window and we've got our first slide in it, right? If we look here, hello, this is the first slide. We go updated, right? We go back to here and we execute this file again. Now it has the updated text. Awesome. So that's good. So our very first part here is we've gotten the first slide. The next thing we need to do is we need to make some quick key maps to be able to move between the different slides. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll do vim key map set, and we're going to do normal mode, and we'll say n to move to the next slide. And we'll say something like this, okay? So we need to go local current slide. We're going to change this later, but this is fine for now. Current slide is 1. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to say current slide is current slide plus 1. All right. And then we need to make sure that this doesn't go past the like end of the line. So we'll get this. We're going to get an error, but this is just... Oh, I won't. Sorry, I'm doing spoilers. We'll just wait. Just wait. What do we want to do now? We basically want to take this line here, and then instead of parse slides 1, we're going to change this to current slide. Now, this is obviously the problem. Is we need to do something like we need to say math dot let's say min of this or the length of parsed dot slides, right? Like this, because we don't want to let us get past here. So if we keep on pressing like +1, +1, +1, +1, we don't want to go past the length of slides. So that's good. So then when we have this, now we just need to basically do the same option for previous, right? And then instead of plus here, we'll do minus, and we need to change this to math max, and this needs to be 1, right? Because it can't go less than 1. And so now the only thing here is now we've set n and p to always do this. That's a bad plan. Obviously, we don't want to do that everywhere. So we need to do something like buffer is the new buffer that we've created, which is float.buff. And so we'll do this for both of these, right? Because we're going to set these as key maps that only work inside of the new buffer that we've created. And so if we execute this now, we can do n and we'll move to the next one. We can keep hitting n, but there's no more slides. We hit p and we'll go back. N and p, n and p. There you go. If we quit, and let's add ourselves a quick one as well of q to just quit the current file or quit the current window. Vim API nvim win close, and let's say float.win true. Okay, we're going to like force close this. So then when we execute this, we can do np, 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 and when we press Q, it'll close. Okay. Right? This is pretty good. This is the last slide. Wow. Right? If we do this, we go back and we execute this file again. N, P, 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 N, 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 N. There you go. We have our simple slides thing. Now in the next one, we'll work on creating this floating window a little bit prettier. We'll work on thinking a little bit more about handling maybe like the line differently. And then we'll start adding maybe some fun features as we get a little further in testing. But that's everything you need. So right now, if you were going to try and ship this as a plugin, you go read VMD, you'd say present nvim, right? And you'd say, hey, this is a plugin for presenting Markdown files. And then you just do something like usage, and you'd say Lua, and you'd say require present, and then we'll put these here, dot start presentation, right? And then you would just say like nothing. That's it. There you go. It works. And then you'd say use n and p to navigate Markdown slides. Okay, that's it, right? And then you could push this to GitHub and people could install it, and then that's it. Okay, so that's like everything you need for the very beginning of this plugin. What we'll do is we'll start adding a few more features to this as we go. But that's everything. I mean, it's pretty cool too. Even just right here, I think, even just right here with this of being able to go here and moving N and P, I think it's a pretty it's pretty nifty. So we'll finish this as we go. Thanks. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and we'll continue this plugin series as we go on. Leave a comment if you liked it. You know, just let me know. Give the algo some juice. Thanks everybody. See ya.